Shut up.
Shut up because I said so. Right? So now, because what do we hope that they do? Shut up and leave us alone. So now, when we start to think about the places in which we ask questions or are not allowed to ask questions, what starts to happen? So now you're told, shut up, leave me alone, don't ask this. And that happens to you consecutively for years on end. What do you start to think about that place, school? It is a place that silences me, dehumanizes me, and lies to me. And once I get old enough, I ain't going. So we don't think about, so I don't ever think about a young person who drops out of school. I'm always concerned about a young person who is pushed out of that place because they're making a challenge to not be dehumanized. They have actually said it upon themselves, it's not going with this. This isn't making sense. In fact, it's not making sense so much that I will actually reject it. And I won't go. And sometimes as an adult, as a 45-year-old, I have to say, that is not necessarily a bad decision. Because where they might be attending quote-unquote school is hellacious. What if you got, anybody go to a school where you had to wear a clear book bag? Anybody go to a school where you had to be wanded down? Not just walk through a metal detector, but be wanded down. Right? You got a space like this that operates like an observation deck. So think about it. If that happens to you every day, you wear a blue and white uniform. I just drove through Dwight and Pontiac. What are the two main industries of Dwight and Pontiac? Jails. So now, if I'm doing that every day, am I in a school or am I in someplace else? Right? So when people talk about a school to prison pipeline, and I say we need to kick up the language around that. We need to talk about a school and prison nexus. We need to think about a school and prison sometimes as the same place, where people are treated the same. There are schools where people get punished if they don't walk on lines. There are schools where people get punished if they are not in the frisk position before classes are started. There are schools that actually escort students to the bathroom. Now there's another place where they escort people to the bathroom. Death row. So now, if I'm thinking about this, it's not to be extreme, but I'm thinking about when we start to uncover this lie, we start to see some things that are painful. And if a young person is seeing this every day, then when they begin to reject it, I'm looking at them as someone who has a critical consciousness. But we don't appreciate that critical consciousness. We call them disruptive. We call them uninterested. We call them negative, always having negative opinions. But if I'm in a place where I'm being perpetually dehumanized, I would have those particular viewpoints. So now, interrupting those things becomes even harder. Now, let me ask you all another question. When you figure out, in any situation, when you figure out that you have been lied to, what is the instantaneous response that you have? You're mad as hell, right? So my students in class, my high school students, they go, man, doc, if I just run outside right now, I'm gonna get one. I'm like, who? Like, I don't know, one. Where you gonna go? I don't know, in the street. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Oh, we gonna get down. Okay, what y'all gonna do after that? Feel good? Because of what? Because we got out on them. But what happens after? Like, we didn't even think about that. Right? But this thing around, where do you take that angst and anger? Right? Where do you take that angst and anger in a space where we don't even have a comprehensive conversation around 1492? We don't have a comprehensive conversation. Let's go right here to Lincoln Land College in Springfield, Illinois. How many people right now can name me 10 indigenous nations that lived in the state of Illinois? My point exactly. They exterminated. So now, when we talk about this particular understanding, we cannot have a conversation in the United States about its founding without an explicit conversation of slavery and genocide. And when we use those terms, those often get heightened. People get fearful of that. But it's, again, we can't fear the annals of history. It is what it is. So now, if we take it as such, how do we interrupt the lie? Where are the places that we interrupt that lie? And now when we